The story opened with several men in white uniforms tilling the ground. Someone yelled to bring up the water. Then they placed the straw. Several men were lined up carrying buckets of water while a man on the edge of a small cliff called them slaves and ordered them to move faster. A goblin rode a log that a man was carrying. In this man's head, he couldn't help but notice the relentless lashes tearing into his shoulders and the blood and sweat all over his body. He complained that the long life of slavery is unbearably harsh. The strongest man in the world has seized the champion title at the age of 27 and held the position of the world's best fighter for the past 2 years. Back then, the referee announced that the towel had been thrown in. Then the winner had an undefeated record of 23 wins and 0 losses. This man is the heavyweight champion of the world's largest MMA league. The man who even completed the last defense match before his retirement without a single defeat. The athlete Choi Hyun-suk of the Republic of South Korea had emerged victorious, and that Choi Hyun-suk is this story's main character. As soon as he retired, he was visited by our good old friend, Truck Kun. And of course, you guys know what happened next. He died from being hit by a truck. He's sad about the money he saved for his retirement to be gone just like that. He worked so hard for it that the only thing he knew in his life was to fight. He's even a single virgin loser. 30 minutes later. He's still being dramatic, but his mindset is starting to pivot. He's thinking that now that he's dead, he won't have to train and there's no more defense matches. And he looked at the bright side of not having family and friends, so no one will be sad over his death. While he's in this astral plane, an arm popped out. She's a gorgeous angel, and she apologized to Hyun-suk for being late. She called him an SSS-class hero. She introduced herself as Rachel. She's a headhunter who scouts people whose lives have ended on Earth. Hyun-suk was confused. He blushed at the sight of her, especially on the chest area. He turned red when Rachel grabbed his hand. Hyun-suk asked the angel to explain in detail. Rachel gave her 2 choices. One is to accept death just like that, and wait for his reincarnation into his next life as a pitiful old bachelor. And the other one is to be immediately resurrected as a hero, destined to save the world that has been waiting for him. The way Rachel showed him that choice is tempting because Hyun-suk is surrounded by several gorgeous women. Hyun-suk replied that he needs more time to think since it happened suddenly, and the explanation seems lacking too. Rachel subtly pressured him by asking if he's willing to pass up the opportunity of a lifetime. She told him that if he listened to her, he would gain wealth, honor, and beautiful women, and even special privileges. She kept chatting, but Hyun-suk had already zoned out. He weighed the option since he has to fight if he becomes a hero. He just barely retired, and Rachel is basically saying that he has to fight again. Dying and peacefully reincarnating seemed to be a more pleasant path for him. When Rachel realized that it seemed like he's not getting it, she exaggeratedly caught his attention and decided to explain it properly. She told him that if he becomes a hero in the other world, the village chief will run to him bare feet and serve him food as soon as it begins, and that Hyun-suk will be looked upon fondly and easily resolve the quest that he gives. Then in that moment, the village chief will say to the hero that his daughter is well known as the most beautiful woman in the village, so he's offering his daughter to him. Hyun-suk maintained a poker face. Rachel noticed how he's still not reacting to it. It made her concerned about her headhunting bonus. She decided to use Plan B. Rachel asks that she's done offering him, and he could just go accept his life ending as an old bachelor. Hyun-suk told her to wait. And then she drops a scary thought, that there's no guarantee that he'll be reincarnated as a person in his next life. And that statement clicked something in our MC's head. As she was about to leave, he grabbed her leg and informed her that he'll do it. She acted coy and told him that she didn't hear that. Our boy even tightened his grip. Hyun-suk screamed that he'll do it, becoming a hero. And of course, that made Rachel grinned. Then she suggested getting it right away. Hyun-suk had no clue as to what she's saying. A magic circle appeared beneath him. He asked if he's really going to do it right away. Rachel told him that there's nothing else to wait. But Hyun-suk protested being sent there without any preparations. But Rachel insisted that the beautiful other world is already waiting for him. She wished him an awesome adventure. She complained how he makes it difficult when he's even going there in the end. Rachel received a call. She answered it and reported that the prospective hero, No 137,421 Hyun-suk, just completed his transmigration. Meanwhile, Hyun-suk lost consciousness until he heard someone telling him to open his eyes. He wondered if it's the village chief that the angel talked about. He thought how the development was obvious from the beginning. Unexpectedly, he was punched in the stomach to wake up. He got annoyed and reacted with aggression, asking if this person has a death wish, but he immediately stopped. It doesn't look like a person since he's wearing a skull of a wild boar with horns in his head. This creature was furious about him sleeping in the slave dormitory. Hyun-suk was confused if this is the village chief who has the most beautiful daughter, since this creature looked like a monster that he certainly should kill. Hyun-suk timidly introduced himself as a hero. The creature was confused. The creature approached him and asked if heroes are stupid nowadays. Hyun-suk started to think that something might have gotten wrong, but he chose to believe that a beautiful angel would do that to him. He wondered if that cowhead was the quest. He tried to calm down and figure it out. He thought of the next thing that he should do as a Korean, and that is to act. The creature asked him what he just said. Our MC kicked the monster while telling it to die. He was proud that his kick went in, but the creature had grabbed his foot and asked if Hyun-suk just called himself a hero. The creature expressed how he's tired of that nonsense now. He wondered where those bastards kept popping out from. Hyun-suk couldn't move his feet. The creature clenches his fist and tells him that he'll be back to his senses once he gets a good sleep. And this creature teased Hyun-suk by calling him a self-proclaimed hero. At the underground prison, someone banged the door and screamed to open the door. He asked for another round of fight with the cowhead. The door opened. An annoyed goblin showed up and asked just who the hell keeps quacking around. Hyun-suk was caught off guard seeing a real sword. The goblin told him that if he screams again, he'll boil him into a whole soup. Hyun-suk got scared and promised to be quiet. The goblin told him that he's watching him, so he better look out for himself. Hyun-suk salutes and replies that he understands. When the goblin was gone, Hyun-suk started complaining about this otherworld bullshit. He wondered where it all went wrong. He's now concerned that if it continues, he'll die a virgin for a second time. Someone called out to him from a small window. The person on the other side asked if he's a newcomer. Hyun-suk asked who that person was. The man replied that he is his senior who's about to be a hero. The man shared that they are at the Demon King's army fortress that enslaves humans. Hyun-suk peeked through the window and was surprised to see a Korean. He called him his sunbae and asked why they fell into that place from the beginning. The man liked the respect that Hyun-suk is showing and teased him if he really wants to know. Then he yelled loudly, asking if the self-proclaimed heroes were still alive. He added that the real hero who's come to save them is there. So many people responded that they are the hero. This room was full of the isekai D guys that met an unfortunate start. Hyun-suk is puzzled as to what in the world is it. The man simply replied that it is what he saw. There are 100 heroes who fell into the Demon King's army fortress. He explained that the red cowhead that Hyun-suk was looking for is the head of the place, Reedrun, and the prisoner guard he saw earlier is called Jark. He is notorious for his cruelty, so the man warned Hyun-suk to be careful. The man added that the reason why they all ended up that way is because of that wicked demon called Rachel. Confusion is evident on Hyun-suk's face. The man muttered that only if that damn demon hadn't sent them into the wrong place. Hyun-suk was hysterical. He asked what it meant. He asked if they're not supposed to start at that place. The man replied that he's sure of it. The heroes who got captured in other places told him. According to them, there's another starting area only for heroes, and most heroes start in cities or rural villages. He explained that heroes typically live without any powers, but none of them begin their journey right in the middle of the Demon King's army like them. Hyun-suk finally realized that the reason why he's in that hellish place was none other than the freaking angel. He recalled the angel's face. A few days later, we see the 2nd slave squad under the 3rd Battalion of the Demon King army. Humans were forced into labor while the goblins watched. The humans have to chant, "Let's crush the humans. Let's devour the humans." Hyun-suk's body trembled from carrying the heavy log with a goblin sitting on top of it. Later on, the goblin rang the bell, signaling the end of the work for that day. The goblin advised them to go back. Hyun-suk was back locked up in his cell. He commented how prison is actually better. He remembered the angel telling him about special hero privileges. He thought about a popular slogan in that situation, which is status window, and it appeared. It showed his status. Our boy found out a little about his strength and abilities. He also murmured some information. The man overheard and was surprised that Hyun-suk already has stamina 1. Hyun-suk replied yes and shared that his strength is 28. The man had recalled Hyun-suk's background of being a champion before, but he didn't expect him to be different. It was amazing that Hyun-suk has over 30 stats even when he's at level 1. Hyun-suk didn't think much about it, saying that he's a slave regardless. The man was positive that if it's Hyun-suk, he will definitely be able to escape and become a real hero. Hyun-suk doesn't believe him. He pretended to sleep, because Hyun-suk is thinking about how he's stuck at level 1, and that might not be helpful for him to be able to run away. It was already late at night. When the man was finally asleep, Hyun-suk got up and checked his status window. He checked that there are 2 places that seem promising at the moment. Mana that grants superhuman strength, and the unknown hero point. Hyun-suk knew that those fake heroes didn't know about the hero point, and no one has ever obtained points in the first place. He saw a familiar light. The angel suddenly appeared flaunting her milkers and greeted him for a long time no see. This bitch even pouted a little and teased our MC if she should tell him his needed information. And that is all about hero points. She informed him that hero points are important features to make the hero's life easier. She continued to explain until Hyun-suk grabbed this tiny Rachel in his hands. He looked pissed, and he told her that he didn't care about the hero points or whatever. At that moment, what's important for him is to give her a good beating. A bit later, Rachel was tied up and hanging like bait in a fishing pole. She apologized and explained that she would have never guessed that her magic circles were broken because she spilled a bit of coffee when she had her snack. During that time, soundproofing magic was activated. Then Hyun-suk asked if she received the punishment of becoming his manager. She replied that her role is to be his personal fairy, to stay by his side and help him until he defeats the Demon King. Hyun-suk admitted that he doesn't care about the hero business anymore. She asked what he meant. Hyun-suk told her that he doesn't intend to defeat the Demon King. Anyways, he could just live a normal life there. Rachel agreed that there are a lot of prospective heroes who decide to live like that, but he has an SSS level potential. Hyun-suk pointed out that it doesn't mean that he's obliged to do anything. He admitted that he never felt that it was his mission in the first place. Rachel tries to argue, but Hyun-suk stated how he doesn't want to live while fighting like in his past life. Rachel was taken aback. It made her wonder if he's always been that way. She thought of him as an idiot who knew nothing besides fighting and women. Then it made her worry about her welfare. When she received the order, she complained about being a personal fairy. She thinks that it's not fair for someone like her to experience that. And on top of that, she was told to stay with Hyun-suk until he kills the Demon King. But she was told that the decision is final. Personal fairy is a subordinate to the assigned warrior. One must actively cooperate and go through success and failure with the assigned warrior. She was urged to go and was sent to the demon fortress where Hyun-suk is. She was told not to come back until she had completed her assignment. She screamed loudly to protest. She didn't like that she's getting thrown to the human filthy world. And just like that, she was teleported. Back to the present time, Hyun-suk assumed that a personal fairy has to obey every word of their warrior. With that, he asked her to contribute to his escape plan. She agreed to it. There was a noise from the door, so Hyun-suk immediately grabbed her. The goblins were waking up the prisoners. Rachel protested that she can use her stealth on her own. Hyun-suk noticed that despite the roll call being over, the Jark is still at his door. The Jark told him that Raedrin had called him, at Raedrin's office. Raedrin brought up what he heard. Hyun-suk is working hard these days. Hyun-suk was dumbfounded while the Jark comfortably sat on his shoulders. Hyun-suk couldn't believe that the stinky bastard of a goblin had complimented him. Raedrin admitted that he thought Hyun-suk was simply a crazy human at first, but it was actually nice to see him working hard. That is why Raedrin offered him the position of becoming the head slave. Hyun-suk had no idea what Raedrin was talking about. Raedrin clarified that he's suggesting this because the work speed has become so much slower lately. Rachel wanted assurance that Hyun-suk would decline immediately. She kept pestering him and yelled that a hero shouldn't grovel to the Demon King's army officers. Jark and Raedrin had heard the sound and asked what it was. Hyun-suk screamed to leave it to him and that he'll get those humans to work. Then he exaggeratedly bowed that his head had slammed on the desk just so he could divert their attention. Raedrin was pleased. He admitted that unlike his first impression of him, he had come to like him. He told Hyun-suk to do well and he'll write him a special admission letter to the Demon King's army. He was dismissed. Deep inside, he wants to cry seeing his escape plan go down the drain. A few days later, the humans were chanting as they worked. Hyun-suk was acting smug as he scolded someone for being slow. He said, "Even my grandma can run faster than that." With this kind of face, he clearly is suited to be with the Demon King's army. The system window displayed that since he has been leading people for a long time, his hidden ability called charisma has increased. Hyun-suk exclaimed that being the head slave is the best. The men who watched him thought that he finally lost his wits. They gossiped about him. Rachel, on the other hand, scolded him since they would be in big trouble if that kept going. He shushed her and told her to trust the process. He even said that a sparrow like her can't understand the intentions of a phoenix like him. When a man fell to his knees, Hyun-suk scolded him. With that, Hyun-suk was notified by the system window that Raedrin's favorability towards him had risen. He's now a few steps away from achieving a goal. Hyun-suk saluted and thanked Raedrin. Rochelle yelled at him, reminding him how he wanted to go on adventures and escape. Hyunsuk scratches his head as he explains that he's just doing as the system told him to do. From what he knew, following a system is part of a hero's duty. Rachel argues that increasing the Demon King's army officials' favorability towards him is unbelievable. She insists that there isn't a hero request like that. Hyunsuk replied that he's telling the truth. Then he asks her if he wants him to read it out loud. Hyunsuk read it as, "You, who have found yourself inside the Demon King's army fortress because of some idiot's mistake." Rachel argues that the way of speech is weird. The system is a kind of program that only uses neutral language. Hyunsuk insists that it's the truth, and that maybe an SSS-level hero system is a bit different. Last night, Rachel made a fuss. She asked him how he could accept the offer so gladly. Hyunsuk squeezed her and told her that he's not the crazy one, it's her. Out of the blue, a system window appeared addressed to Hyunsuk, who had found himself inside the Demon King's army fortress because of some idiot's mistake, might feel as wronged as someone who found out that the toilet had run out of toilet paper. But Hyunsuk was encouraged that he had been given a chance. He has to gain the favor of the Demon King's army officer Reedrun. A true hero must learn how to use their enemy. So basically the goal is to win Reedrun's favor and earn 100 hero points. Hyunsuk was surprised back then. Hyunsuk went back to work. He asked the slaves to start singing the Demon King's Third Army Corps song. Rachel realized that only the higher-ups have the power to change the quest's contents. It made her wonder why they would do that for Hyunsuk. Jark then called Hyunsuk. This Jark instructed him to follow him because Reedrun has called for Hyunsuk. At Reedrun's office, he informed Hyunsuk that the slave's productivity has increased drastically. Hyunsuk replied that it was nothing, then he buttered up at Reedrun, saying that it's because he made wise choices. Rachel commented that cheap flattery won't work. Reedrun flinched. He looked so satisfied. The system window appeared stating that Hyunsuk had reached his favorability goal and the hero quest has been completed. He received 100 points and the beginner hero store has been unlocked by his first points. Both Hyunsuk and Rachel were surprised that it worked quite well. It's working out well and the favorability quest is done, so Hyunsuk decided to move on to the next part of the plan. He asked if he could start training the slaves. Reedrun inquired about it. Hyunsuk made him paint a picture of a group of worker slaves moving in unison. Slaves who are experts of discipline, doing the job of 3 without a trace of laziness. He added that with these slaves, the construction of the fortress can be done within a week. Reedrun argues that humans are physically too weak to work and train simultaneously. But Hyunsuk continued saying that the commander will sing praises of Reedrun. Without second thoughts, Reedrun allowed it, back at his cell. Rachel was so dramatic, saying that her hero had gone mad because he groveled to the Demon King's army, and now he's even training the slaves. She felt depressed and hopeless about it. Hyunsuk got annoyed with her for being so loud. He told her that he has a plan. Rachel asked if he's making a fool of her again. Hyunsuk has a great comeback. He asked her if he thinks he's her. Hyunsuk revealed that he's planning to use the slaves to start a rebellion. He explained that the fortress has 3,000 human slaves. The number of soldiers from the Demon King's army is only about 500. Moreover, there's a human alliance base not far from the fortress. In the chaos of rebellion, they can ask for support from the human alliance. After hearing that, Rachel looked at him with sparkly eyes while saying that he's not dumb after all. After that, Hyunsuk checked the reward from the quest. Rachel inquired if he really got hero points and the whole quest wasn't a lie. Hyunsuk replied that it was what he's been telling her. He also shared that now there's even a thing called a hero's store. He decided to take a look. He wished for the item to be something good. Our MC had high hopes since whatever will come out from it is his lifeline. He's excited to finally have a hero skill. The status window showed him skills like Hold Your Breath, F rank, which will help him hold his breath better, and Shit Holding, which enables him to hold his shit better. I think this is a mistake. Shit Holding should have been an SSS rank, especially when you're in a public place. And the rest are cooking, cleaning, and laundry. He's confused and furious about the skills that a hero needs. Rachel laughed and explained that it's because the store is at level 1. She informed him that if he collects more points and levels up his store, he will definitely find something useful. Hyunsuk let out his anger at Rachel and told her to shut up while calling her a swindling fairy. The next day, the slaves salute to the Demon King. Hyunsuk commanded everyone to sing the Third Army Corps song. He gave his signal, and they began. The song goes like this. We, the great Demon King army, let's defeat humans. Let's eat humans. Forget all the suffering when you catch them. Nothing under the sky is greater than the affection of the Demon King. Reedrun watched them, and he felt glad for allowing Hyunsuk to train the slaves. The door in his room opened. Jark has something urgent to report to him. He reported that the human army is advancing on their way. Furthermore, the 8th Division that confronted them has already fallen into their trap and retreated. The 8th Division is the largest unit in their area. If the 8th Division had been defeated, it would only be a matter of time before those human bastards arrived. He didn't like how they might have to give up the fortress when it's almost finished being built like that. Jark told Reedrun how there's no time left, so he should evacuate immediately. But Reedrun replied to wait a moment. He stated that since ancient times, war has been said to have been battles of military supplies. He elaborated that the first rule of war is never lose a competent supply officer. With that, he told Jark to go ahead and he'll take care of Hyunsuk and follow them later. Meanwhile, Hyunsuk scolded the slaves by asking if they were going to run at his command. He heard some noise and thought how the combat training would be cancelled again because of Reedrun's surveillance. Hyunsuk checked the status window while Reedrun appeared on the balcony behind him. Hyunsuk thought about how his abilities have increased a bit, but it isn't enough to start a coup. He stated randomly how he's looking for a sudden event that can help raise his abilities. Before he could finish, Reedrun had landed by his side. Reedrun tapped his shoulder and called him. That surprised Hyunsuk. Reedrun was in a hurry. He told Hyunsuk that they have no time and he has to come with him at once. Hyunsuk was confused, so inquired why and where. Suddenly, the commander of the human army announced to attack and victory was within their reach. The humans with their spears charged forward and hit several goblins. Then they saw the red nightmare, Reedrun. The commander ordered the soldiers to get back and let the knights take on the enemy. They kept charging forward. In his head, Hyunsuk questions why there are human troops there. He thought of taking advantage of the situation. He thought of this chance to stab the Demon King's commander in the back and return to human society. A human charged forward, yelling for the red nightmare to die. But Reedrun easily grabbed the man's head and squashed it. Hyunsuk was stunned. Reedrun used his combat arts. 7th movement. Then he smashed the man's face on the ground, followed by explosive destruction wave, an AoE attack that crumbled the ground and threw the human soldiers in the air. Reedrun then asked Hyunsuk if he's all right. Hyunsuk saluted him, replied yes, and informed him that he'll be leaving. I think this reminded our MC that he's still with one of the strongest of the Demon King's army. The area buzzed since the humans had taken over it. The soldiers raised 2 flags at the center and guided the citizens of Marriott Kingdom and Drasan Empire to sort themselves out. The soldier asked Hyunsuk's prison mate if they were warriors. He replied yes. The warriors are ushered to a different path since they are treated differently than the normal captives. Someone appeared and thanked the warriors for coming. It was Olivan Grimier. He's a middle-aged man with red hair and beard. He is a Duke of Drasan Empire and the commander of the Allied forces. A soldier approached Olivan and told him that the evacuation had been completed. He praised the soldier. The soldier also informed him that they have drafted those who call themselves warriors. With that, Olivan ordered to start. All soldiers were commanded to get into position. It was followed by a command to annihilate all the warriors in front of them. Meanwhile, a carriage traverses the forest. Hyunsuk was sullen as he bid farewell to his adventure, to his dream second life. He looked at Reedrun, who was sitting in front of him, and thought of how Reedrun blew off all the heads of those who were coming after them, so they are no longer being chased. Rachel tried to cheer him up, saying that times of crises are opportunities. She advised to go to the HQ and properly grasp the Demon King army's situation. Hyunsuk replied that she should shut up. Reedrun suddenly spoke. He admitted that he just fell asleep. He asked Hyunsuk if he said something. Hyunsuk replied no, and explained that he was just mumbling to himself how it's an honor to be able to go with Reedrun. Reedrun was touched and expressed how glad Hyunsuk feels that way. He informed Hyunsuk that they are almost at 3rd Corps HQ, so he should look forward to it. Reedrun shared that when they arrive, he will officially enlist Hyunsuk in the Demon King army. Hyunsuk turned pale, but he had no choice but to say that it's an honor. Rachel is panicking too. At the HQ, a guard announced that Reedrun has returned, and they must open the gate. Reedrun told Hyunsuk to follow him since he'll take him immediately to the commander. Reedrun uttered that it was an absolute honor to meet the commander quickly. Despite saying that, his non-verbal cues say otherwise. Reedrun reminded him to be careful of his conduct in front of the commander, unless he wants to die. Hyunsuk remembered a saying that as long as he keeps his wits, he can survive even a tiger's den. Hyunsuk refused to give up. At the door of the commander, Reedrun announced himself. He was told to come in. Hyunsuk heard a woman's voice, so he wondered if the commander was a human. The commander wore stilettos. She's a sexy woman leaning back on her chair. She has long ears and nails like claws, and her eyes are covered while her jaw and neck have a different color. She welcomed Reedrun. She noticed that he gained even more muscle. This woman is named Hemis, the Demon King Army 3rd Corps commander. Reedrun replied how her beauty has become even more stunning. Hyunsuk blushed because he couldn't believe that a beauty like that is a commander. Hemis thanked Reedrun for his kind words. Hyunik internally panicked on what he should do. He wondered if he should also praise her beauty. Reedrun communicated how he's ashamed that he couldn't protect the fortress. Hemis replied that it's because of the 8th Division commander, and it's not Reedrun's fault. Hemis added that she should have made a bag out of his skin already. At this point, Hyunsuk can't breathe. Hemis added that the 8th Division commander came back alive as a loser. Hyunsuk felt immense pressure, and it was on an entirely different level than the ones he met. He clenched his fist as he hid how much he's trembling. She moved on from that topic and asked about the human that he brought. He reported that it's Hyunsuk, the one he reported before. Then he stated that he brought him to enlist in the official demon army. Hemis got close and commented that he's cute. She let him know that she's looking forward to how he'll perform, given that he's a talent being chosen by Reincarnated. Hyunsuk was flustered, but he managed to reply that he'll do his best. Hemis commented that with Hyunsuk's body, he won't last long in the demon army. She asked Reedrun if he agrees. He did, and he added that Hyunsuk will be devoured by others. Reedrun stated that humans joining a demon army is unprecedented. He asked permission to personally train him. But Hemis immediately answered no. She told him that he can't waste his time for a human. Something shocking happened to Hemis's body. She transformed. Her head is like a flower, but with teeth and tongue. Hyunsuk's jaw dropped. He watched her shove her arm inside her mouth. Eventually, Hemis's face returns to normal while she holds a black dog creature in her arms. She told Hyunsuk that he will be assigned as her pet caretaker. The creature looked ferocious. Hemis introduced him as Bobo, and Hemis finds him really cute. Deep inside, Hyunsuk wondered what a pet this was. He wonders if Hemis knew that it isn't a demon bastard from hell. Also, in my language, Bobo means stupid. That's why this gave me a laugh. Reedrun commented how he senses immense power from it, even though it's still a baby. Hemis was happy that Reedrun got it. Hyunsuk, on the other hand, looked dubious. Hemis noticed Hyunsuk and asked what his reaction was, and intimidated him while also asking if he didn't like it. Hyunsuk immediately responded that it's an honor to take off Bobo as a human. Hemis was pleased to hear that. She shoved Bobo at him. She advised him that Bobo is growing so he shouldn't forget to feed him because Bobo gets angry when hungry. She also shared that assigning a new caretaker is too much work now since Bobo has been eating them all at Bobo's house. Rachel was too loud because she was surprised to see that there's a new hero quest. Hyunsuk shushed her because she might wake up Bobo. The system window displayed the hero quest. He is tasked to survive by earning Bobo's affection and wish for a better future. This quest gives 200 hero points. Hyunsuk couldn't believe how he has to earn the affection from a commander's pet now. The door opened. A goblin knocked on it. Hyunsuk immediately greeted this goblin. In Hyunsuk's head, though, having a goblin as a caretaker seems like he's being treated as a snack. He asked about his seniors, and the goblin informed him he has none because they are all dead, and the goblin instructed him that from then on, they will be in charge of preparing a meal for Bobo. Hyunsuk asked if that's all. The goblin replied yes. The goblin was about to command him to get his ass moving, but a shadow loomed over the goblin. It was Bobo, and he looked ominous as he licked the head of the goblin. The goblin was terrified, and he immediately hid and grabbed Hyunsuk's leg. He didn't expect Bobo to wake up, so he immediately offered Hyunsuk to be his food. Hyunsuk got angry. He asked what the goblin was doing, but it just told him to shut up. The goblin knew one of them was about to die. Hyunsuk threw the goblin towards Bobo while telling the goblin that he's the one dying. Hyunsuk offered Bobo the snack, and Bobo was pleased. He chomped on it. Hyunsuk and Rachel watched Bobo enjoy his meal. Later on, Rachel was hysterical. She is being chased by Bobo. She asked for help, but Hyunsuk just replied that they shouldn't run away for too long since Bobo will get hungry again. Hyunsuk noticed something. There's an item available, an extra-large bone. This bone can attract the Canidae type of monster. It charms Canidae monsters, and it can be purchased with 30 hero points. Hyunsuk called Bobo, then showed the bone to him. He threw the bone and Bobo's eyes widened. Bobo was able to fetch it. Rachel was exhausted from flying around. She wished he had found it sooner. Hyunsuk bragged how his brain doesn't miss minor details. He expected the quest to be easy, but to his surprise, Bobo attacked him. It only got the hem of his shirt. But that's when he realized a bone isn't enough, and that Bobo needs fresh meat. Rachel asked Hyunsuk if he's thinking of bringing Bobo outside. Hyunsuk thought about it. He was pressured to think fast if he didn't want to get eaten. Bobo started to bare its fang. Hyunsuk thought of a magic word that can calm an angry dog. He yelled, "Walk!" The wild Bobo changed immediately, and it now looked pleased. Bobo immediately went to hug Hyunsuk while wagging his tail. They are outside now, and Hyunsuk is looking for the kitchen. He couldn't tell which way it was. Bobo was energetic, and Hyunsuk is having a hard time controlling him. Rachel looked around, but she couldn't even smell any food. She saw a goblin and suggested asking it. Hyunsuk approaches the goblin. The goblin was confused seeing the human there. Bobo turned into his feral self again. The goblin was terrified. Hyunsuk explained that it was Bobo's walk time. The goblin asked why a human is with Bobo. Bobo licked the goblin's face. Hyunsuk told Bobo that he couldn't eat him. Hyunsuk explained that he's taking care of Bobo. He asked where the kitchen was. The goblin answered that the kitchen is to his left, then it dashed away. Hyunsuk and Rachel were dumbfounded. When they got to their senses, they burst out laughing. They laughed at the goblin being so scared that it made it questionable if he's really part of the demon army. After a good laugh, Hyunsuk was ready to find meat in the kitchen. Rachel confirmed with Hyunsuk if he agrees with her that he's not going to take care of a dog forever. Hyunsuk asked what she was saying, when it's obvious since Hyunsuk still has a dream he wants to fulfill. He looked at where Bobo used to be, but he's no longer there. Hyunsuk turned pale. It was that time he knew he fucked up. He screamed, "Where the fuck is that dog?" Our MC cried knowing that the dog is a disaster, even if he just looked away for a split second. Rachel looked around their surroundings. Then Rachel pointed to an area. Bobo appeared. Hyunsuk was relieved. He told Bobo how worried he was. Bobo happily returned, but not without blood dripping from his mouth and a full stomach. All of a sudden, they heard screaming that Commander Regis is dead. Someone asked who did it, and they vowed revenge. Hyunsuk was left frozen. Rachel had pointed out that Bobo is the culprit. The goblins appeared, and they started running away. Rachel asked if they were going to die. Hyunsuk told her to shut up and run instead of yapping. They reached the dead end. The goblins had cornered the human that murdered their commander. One goblin announced how he'll hold the human's arm like a chicken wing. Another goblin replied how he wished the commander wasn't fully digested yet, since he wondered how the commander would taste. The other goblin suggested to rip apart both the dog and the human, and they will split the parts. Hyunsuk tried to focus and boost his spirit. Then he yelled, "How dare you!" Our boy was already outnumbered. He needed to improvise right away. He asked if they knew who the brave one was, then he lifted Bobo. The goblin was confused because they all thought that it's just a monster. When they said that, Hyunsuk's anger heightened and scolded them. He informed them that this cute but deadly dog is none other than Bobo. The goblins recalled that it's the pet of Commander Hemis, but they denied it. They thought that it's just a trick from a human. But some were also worried that Hyunsuk might be telling the truth. Hyunsuk asked how they could not tell who Bobo was. It was a shame. The goblin was confused with this human's actions. Hyunsuk told Bobo to activate his beast mode on, and Bobo complied. Bobo was like a ferocious wild animal who was drooling at the sight of food in front of it. Hyunsuk told the goblin that it is indeed Bobo, then he told Bobo to bite the goblin. It roared, then jumped at the goblin. Bobo bit the goblin and the blood splattered. Hyunsuk watched and commented how a dog without a muzzle is bloody. Only bones were left of that goblin. Hyunsuk asked if there's anyone else in doubt of Bobo. The goblins apologized and explained how they didn't know it was Bobo. The system window appeared and informed Hyunsuk that with the excessive charisma, he subdued many demons. His hidden attribute, charisma, has increased. Hyunsuk was happy to get credit for that. Someone appeared behind Hyunsuk and expressed how she was wondering why it's noisy outside. It was Hemis. She realized that the reason why is that a cute newbie is doing interesting stuff out there. Hyunsuk turned pale. At Hemis's office. Hemis was amused at how Hyunsuk used her name and Bobo to survive. Hyunsuk bowed down and admitted that he had committed a grave sin. Hemis was confused because she was giving a compliment. She expressed how Hyunsuk is a human after all since he's clever unlike the idiots that she's with. And that he has balls too. Hyunsuk was hesitant to reply thank you. Hemis explained that the demon army tends to solve everything by force, which causes many troubles. Hyunsuk asked about what kind of troubles, and she replied that he would soon find out. She asked him again if he thought about becoming an executive. Hyunsuk was baffled, since he thinks too low of his skills. But Hemis replied that she can't let him keep using her name and Bobo. She informed him that the demon army has a decisive battle that lets him take the opponent's rank. She told him that she would for a month, but after that, he'll have to win against the opponent chosen by her. And every win he gets, she will extend her protection by a month. And if he slowly climbs up the ladder to maybe a battalion commander, he will be useful by then. Hyun-suk asked what would happen if he loses. She replied that he won't be able to have a peaceful death. He would wish that he would have died during the battle instead. Hyun-suk had no choice but to accept, since she seemed like she'd kill him if he said no. Hemis even chose the opponent's spot on. Rachel replied that it seems like she would be saying farewell to him in a month. He called her out for that, especially when she was the one who said that his potential talent is rank SSS. Rachel asked if he doesn't know what potential means. She informed him that it's a possibility but not a definite power. He pointed out how she's a fairy, but she doesn't even cheer for him. Hyun-suk had noticed something. The doors were bloodied. He wondered if it's really the kitchen. He slowly opened the door. Upon seeing Hyun-suk, the monster inside replied that he must be the human that their commander had talked about. The red ogre-like monster introduced himself as Kulkan, and he's the demon army chef. He asked what brought Hyun-suk there. Hyun-suk didn't get inside the kitchen and replied that he wanted to get a snack for Bobo. Kulkan realized that Bobo's caretaker had changed again. Then he refused Hyun-suk's request. Hyun-suk didn't expect that. Kulkan argues that there's no reason for him to help the human. He added that the only order from Commander Hemis was not to lay a hand on him. Hyun-suk asked if there's any way that they would work it out, especially since it's for Bobo. Kulkan said that if Hyun-suk really wants meat, Kulkan is saying that Hyun-suk has to get the meat himself by hunting like the rest of the goblins. The goblins are chopping up goblins on the table. Hyun-suk turned pale. In his mind, those goblins looked more like butchers than a cook. And he had no idea what Kulkan said when he said to hunt it on his own. The next thing we knew was that Hyun-suk faced a giant ferocious wild boar. He was told that it would be his dinner tonight, so he has to kill it. While standing there, Hyun-suk contemplated on how he ended up in that position. The boar had already killed Morgan. They call it a hunt, but the boar does nothing but to charge non-stop. The cooks vowed to avenge Morgan. Hyun-suk commented how he can't tell who would end up having dinner. Rachel asked what they should do. She suggested running. Hyun-suk replied that there's no way he can run away from a crowd that big. But Hyun-suk couldn't deny how he's in danger. He decided to move. Kulkan called him. Hyun-suk's instinct made him reply that he'll go next. But Kulkan told him that there's no need to, since the hunt was over. Hyun-suk was taken aback because all along he thought they were just mindlessly charging. He wondered how they did that. The goblin reported to Kulkan that there were 12 dead and many injured. In Hyun-suk's head, the damage is too much. Kulkan responded that it's amazing and they will continue to hunt for the next prey after a short break. Hyun-suk noticed how Kulkan doesn't really care. While the cooks are busy, Hyun-suk informs Rachel that he thought about it, and escaping isn't an option anymore. Rachel asked if he's going to hunt monsters with them. Hyun-suk replied no, and that he doesn't have a reason to do that. Hyun-suk was thinking about it and shared that stat only goes up when he levels up, so it means he just needs X to level up. Rachel agreed with him, but she asked where he'll find EXP in that situation. Hyun-suk shamelessly asked if he'll still get the EXP if he only does the last hit. Rachel replied yes and commented how sloppy that is. Hyun-suk was motivated with her answer. He thanked her and told her that they will get moving. He knew he didn't have many choices. He had to get stronger within a month because of the probability that the commander was for real. Hyun-suk approached Kulkan. Kulkan admitted how he thought Hyun-suk had run away. Hyun-suk replied that he'll never do that. But in his head, it felt like Kulkan had read his mind. Our MC expressed his intention to join the next hunt as part of the brave demon army. Kulkan glared at him. It made Hyun-suk nervous. He wondered if he crossed the line even if he knew Kulkan liked it when he did that. But Kulkan grinned and replied that he liked it. Hyun-suk thanked him while flattering him. Surprisingly, Kulkan assigned him to lead the next hunt. Kulkan told him that for them, the leader is the most honorable position. Normally, they don't let a newbie stand there, but he's a special case. Hyun-seok humbly told the chef that he wouldn't dare stand in front of the noble demons and the other cooks might complain if he takes the lead. Kulkan only gave him a thumbs up. Their conversation was interrupted when someone urgently called the chef. Kulkan asked what was wrong. The cook replied that there's a monster invasion. Kulkan heard the monster's cry. It was a signal that an Urin herd came. Hyun-suk asked if they were in danger. Kulkan replied not really, but he shared that Urin meat isn't good. Kulkan grabbed the knife from his back, and he ordered everyone to grab their weapons and they will go hunt Urin and add Urin stew on their dinner menu. Hyun-suk saw that as an opportunity. He just has to stay close and get the last hit. Rachel gave him something. The system window showed that his health and strength slightly increased for 3 minutes. Rachel confidently replied that he doesn't have to thank her. But instead of being grateful, Hyunsuk bonked her while complaining about how she hadn't used it on him before. Hyunsuk hurried to get the last hit, and while doing this, he wanted himself to think more about something. He reminded himself of his dreams. Blonde noble lady, no more and no less 5 children who look like bunnies. He ran faster. He leapt as he prepared to attack while thinking of what he needed to protect. It was all for his retirement. Our boy was not planning to die again as a virgin loser. He's really motivated now. He punched the urine and it died, causing him to level up. There were multiple notification windows with just 1 kill. He was surprised to see 4 levels went up for 1 last hit. With that speed, he can hit level 20 in a single day. He was happy now that he can finally get stronger. Few moments later, a trembling cook approaches the dead Urin. It lifted its butcher's knife. But Hyunsuk elbowed the cook on the pretense that his elbow slipped. He laughed evilly. He was like a maniac when he announced that every last hit in the world is his. Several moments passed, and a few more monsters were hunted. Rachel asked him if they are done now. She looked exhausted. Hyunsuk praised his buff bot. They had killed every monster, and the cooks seemed to have finished butchering it. But when he checked, the cooks were already feasting on the meat. One cook even asked for a bigger portion. Hyunsuk was dumbfounded. Kulkan called his attention and asked what he's staring at. Hyunsuk asked the chef if they are allowed to eat the army's food like that. Kulkan told him that it's part of the cook's privilege, especially because monster meat goes bad after some time. Kulkan replied that it's an opportunity for normal soldiers like them to be able to have fresh meat. He shared how delicious meat is the reason he lives for. There were so many questions in Hyunsuk's head. Like what privilege, or how they don't have a labor union. The chef offered him meat. He deserves it since he fought as a warrior. Hyunsuk hesitated to accept it. He looked at the meat while thinking how the cooks risked their life for that meat. He chomped on it. He realized that the meat itself isn't too bad. There's a strong smell, but it added to the flavor. In the end, the meat was bland and chewy. He thought that if it was sold in South Korea, it wouldn't last long. He thought about how the cooks risked their lives for some sloppy meat. He wondered what if he makes a dish better than that. Our boy just realized how he could control them by earning their favor. Then that will make him the god of the kitchen. He opened the hero shop. Rachel was surprised with his actions. Hyunsuk has 70 points left after buying Bobo's toy. He spent it all for a certain skill. Then he chose an item. It glowed in his hand. Rachel was curious as to what he bought. He is motivated to show those foolish demons. Hyunsuk now has cooking skill rank F, which requires 50 points. And the item is a seasoning loaded with MSG, and that costs 20 points. It was the peak of Korea's cuisine. Rachel scolded him for buying salt. Hyunsuk lectured her to look at the bigger picture. He showed her since seeing is better than just hearing it. He explained to her how salt will play with her tongue with its taste. Hyunsuk sprinkled salt on the meat. Then it was done. The meat has a nice smell and it's juicy. Hyunsuk thought of himself as the god of the new world. He offered the meat to the chef. Kulkan declined since he's full now. He asked if it's okay to have it later instead. Hyunsuk insists by saying how he poured his heart on it. He became exaggerated by saying how he can die without regrets if the great Kulkan tries it. Kulkan decided to take a bite. He noticed the taste. Kulkan thought of his childhood. Back then, he's very introverted. His mother used to ask him if he wanted meat for dinner. He shed his tears remembering her. After that, Hyunsuk took home a bag of meat. The chef reminded him that the freshness stays for 2 days, and if Hyunsuk needs more, he's welcome to see him again. At Bobo's house. Hyunsuk opened the door. Bobo charged at him. The surprise made Hyunsuk's eyes bulge. He immediately gave the meat. Bobo's mood instantly changed to delight. Hyunsuk encouraged Bobo to have his fill. Rachel couldn't help but comment how Hyunsuk had become a dogmaster now. Hyunsuk took out everything on the bag, and Bobo ate happily. Hyseok even told Bobo that he could bring more tomorrow. That made Bobo's affinity increase, and with that, they finished the hero quest and gained 200 hero points. It was just as Hyunsuk planned. Rachel noticed that he completed the quest. Hyunsuk expressed how he feels confident now. He saved the 200 hero points as his emergency fund. He had a bunch of bonus points saved now. Rachel peeked at his screen and pointed at something that would increase his stats. She asked why he hadn't used it. Hyunsuk argues that he wouldn't use it because he doesn't know what it does. And he mentioned that it's because of a certain idiot who skipped the tutorial. Rachel replied that they can still do it. Rachel started her explanation. Basically, Hyun-suk can use bonus points on the 4 basic stats: strength, stamina, agility, and mana. Strength increases his power. Stamina increases his endurance and tenacity. Agility increases his reaction and swiftness. And the mana is what he imagined as his magic. Hyun-suk asked what charisma is. Rachel stated that it's a hidden stat, so he can't level it with bonus points. The only way is through right training. She advised to level them equally. Hyun-suk doubted that because he thought it's better to just only increase in strength. Rachel was surprised with that line of thought. She explained that it could be the case at the beginning, but towards the end, mana is very important. It's obvious that a mana-enhanced body is stronger than a pure muscle-trained body. Hyun-suk adjusted his points and asked Rachel if that would do. Rachel replied that it's not bad. Then she instructed him to go to the shop and buy the fundamentals of mana control. Hyun-suk asked what mana control is. She told him that it basically teaches him to control his mana. She estimated it to be around 100 hero points. Hyun-suk looked for it at the shop, but there's none. Rachel was surprised since it's a common item in the shop. Hyun-suk expressed his disappointment. He thought she would have been finally helpful. He even asked her how she could be that useless. Rachel insisted that it's supposed to be there. 3 weeks later. Hyun-suk had reached level 100. It took him longer than he thought. Rachel uttered that the EXP caps increase as he levels. Hyun-suk wondered if there are any heroes working as hard as him. Rachel told him that he's already a sinecure. That didn't sound right to Hyun-suk. He crushed her while reminding her how many times he almost died that day. Rachel explained that it usually takes half a year to hit level 100. She sadly told him that she wants to be friendly with him, but Hyun-suk reasoned that she asked for it. The door opened. A goblin called Hyun-seok to inform him that the commander wants to see him. At Hemis's office, she welcomed Hyun-seok and commented that he looks better than last time and that he also got stronger. She saw that his mana had doubled. Hyun-seok replied that he tried his best to deliver the highest quality of meat to Bobo every day, but Heis mentioned how he's getting stronger too fast. She asked if it's because of the level system for heroes. Hyun-seok was caught off guard that Hemis knew he was a hero. He wondered, since when does she know? She told him not to be surprised since she knew it the first time they met. He asked her how. She replied that it's because she knew someone who is really into heroes. She asked him why he thought she called him there. Hyun-suk tried to think about it. Then he mentioned his battle. Hemis asked if he remembers their promise. He replied yes. She asked again if he did, and inquired why he's like that. Hemis turned into a flower-eating monster. She's angry, and she has problems with how fast he's leveling. She told him to work harder if he doesn't want to die. It's all for her amusement. Hyun-suk recalled how the crowd goes wild not because of a flashy performance or overwhelming victory. It's when there's a beefy plot twist. He knew she picked one that he can never beat and wished the odds to be against him. And since he already received a warning, it already means he doesn't stand a chance. Rachel screamingly asked what he planned to do. He told her to calm down and let him think. Hyun-suk stated that it's better to learn about the opponent before the day of battle. He has to study how strong the opponent is. Rachel argues how they only have the name. She asked how he'll figure out the face. He replied that there's an item that he wants to buy in the hero shop. It's called Combat Power Meter. This item measures the target's strength, stamina, agility, and mana. It requires 50 hero points. Hyun-suk plans to use it to measure the power level and train against a similar power level cook. Rachel sighed and teased him for being only clever at times like that. But Hyun-suk retorted that it's better than just always being useless. They checked Rachel's combat power, and it's 375. She couldn't tell if it was high or low, so she suggested measuring Hyun-suk. Hyun-suk gave the item to Rachel. But Rachel was confused. He asked her if she didn't see anything. Rachel couldn't believe what she was seeing. She replied that the item must be broken, because she couldn't think of a reason for him to be stronger than her. Hyun-suk had 1,560 strength. Hyun-suk simply asked her if she's sure that she's not the weak one between the two of them. Rachel felt down since she had a strength of 10,000 a month ago. Hyun-suk asked if it worked without any problems. They checked Bobo's strength, and this fucker has a freaking 47,422 strength. Rachel felt more miserable knowing that they are both weaker than a dog. It was funny how Hyun-suk entertained the idea that the dog's breed was buffed. He then went outside and checked out the levels of other orcs. He saw that the weakest-looking beings are goblins, while the rest have similar stats as him. Someone announced that Captain Bulkman arrived and everyone saluted. The captain passed by Hyun-suk, and Hyun-suk saw that the captain had 14,300 strength. He noticed that everyone with a strength higher than 10,000 is at least at commander level. Hyunsuk confirmed with Rachel about his opponent being a platoon leader. Rachel replied yes, and his name is Kirkin. The rumor is that he's an orc with the brains of a pig. Hyunsuk said that a platoon leader should have a strength of about 3,000, so he might have a chance if he levels up. He looked for the guy. He saw him, and the guy's strength measured to 6,671 strength. Rachel stated that it's basically telling Hyunsuk to just go and die. Hyunsuk received a hero quest. The system window showed that his chances of winning against the pig are near zero. However, not giving up in a hopeless situation is his strength, so he'll be given a chance. He has to raise his combat strength to 3,000 in 1 week. The reward is 300 hero points. Hyunsuk commented that the timing of the quest is perfect. It even made him think if it was spying on him. He accepted the challenge since it's do or die anyway. He's decided to go after his observer or Hemis. Hyunsuk was motivated to survive. The next morning in the kitchen, Hyunsuk announced his arrival. Kulkan told him to come in. Kulkan noticed his goggles and commented that the item is interesting. He asked where Hyunsuk got it. Hyunsuk simply replied that he saw some wearing it, so he got one too. Kulkan asked if it's the trend among the younger generation. Anyways, Hyunsuk was ordered to get ready for the hunt. Hyunsuk checked Kulkan's strength and saw it was 35,230. He wondered why it's so high. It isn't the strength of some normal captain. And it's not just him. Hyunsuk noticed the other cooks. They have high combat strength because they have been fighting against demonic beasts. Hyunsuk realized that if he spars against someone with a similar strength as Kirkin, he can get a feeling for what he's level at. Hyunsuk asked Kulkan to spar with one of the cooks. He explained how he wants to be of bigger help after learning 1 or 2 things. Kulkan replied that he's strong enough for a human, so there's no need to rush. Hyunsuk subtly threatened Kulkan by saying that if he doesn't allow it, he will eat the meat on his own. Kulkan changed his mind and asked who it was that he wished to spar against. A bit later, the cooks asked what's going on when it's almost time for the hunt. They found out that Hyunsuk is fighting against Golbachem. They wondered if Hyunsuk would meet his end that day. Some goblins don't like it since they like Hyunsuk's meat. Golbachem has a strength of 2,620. The goblins planned to kill Golbachem instead. Kulkan heard them and told them to shut up. Kulkan reminded Golbachem not to kill Hyunsuk no matter what. He told him to do the bare minimum and don't overdo it. Golbachem looked dumb, but he said he understood. But it's obvious how Kulkan doubted his answer. They started the spar. Hyunsuk was fired up. Golbachem reminds himself not to kill Hyunsuk. Hyunsuk charged forward. Golbachem punched him, but he was able to evade. Hyunsuk noticed how his fist relies on instincts. Hyunsuk attacked Golbachem again. The fight felt familiar to Hyunsuk. And it's something that he'd always won. They announced the victor, Hyunsuk. The goblins couldn't believe that Golbachem lost. It happened so fast that some didn't see what happened. Hyunsuk couldn't believe how Golbachem was knocked down with a simple kick. He started believing that he might have a chance of winning. At the north of the Black Fortress Great Forest, Hyunsuk is still thinking about how he knocked out an orc with double strength stat in 1 kick. He couldn't help but think how combat strength is a mere number, nothing absolute. He thought that if he just becomes a bit stronger, he'll easily win the upcoming fight. A goblin reported to Kulkan how a large number of Talas have appeared up ahead. Kulkan commented on how annoying it is. He asked if they were part of Talas territory. Hyunsuk asked what was wrong. He asked if it was because Talas tasted bad. Kulkan replied that their meat doesn't taste too bad. Rather, their bone marrows are a great delicacy. But Talas live in groups. They have especially strong maternal instincts, so if they lay a finger on the young, it will cause a lot of trouble. Hyunsuk assumed that the hunt would end there. Kulkan decided to hunt them because their meat is tasty. Kulkan ordered everyone to attack since they will have Talas meat as their snack for that day. He ordered everyone not to let any Talas escape and slaughter them alive. This monster looked like a spider wearing a skull on its body. Hyunsuk pushed a goblin while pretending that it's an accident. He took this chance to do final blows and gain XP. After some time, they collected several Talas. Hyunsuk killed the last one, and he leveled up. Rachel complimented him for being a pro in stealing final blows. Hyunsuk accepted the compliment and shared that it's the reason why he liked working in the kitchen. Suddenly, Hyunsuk felt an intense pressure around him. He was confused and it made him turn. Then someone screamed that the Talas queen had arrived. She got angry, and that was because she saw a pile of dead Talas. She growled. Hyun-seok was curious as to how strong she is for everyone to make a huge fuss. When he used the goggles, it showed how the strength is immeasurable. And what's horrifying is that they just mercilessly slaughtered her children. Hyun-seok hurriedly turned to ask the chef what they should do, but his eyes bulge out upon seeing the chef making a run for it. The chef announced to make it out alive and meet again. Hyun-seok thought of how irresponsible the rascal was. A loud noise caught Hyun-seok's attention. Someone ordered everyone to scatter. The weak goblins were now being slaughtered. One looked for the head chef. The Talus Queen was furious. She screamed loudly. It was so loud, so Hyun-seok had to cover his ears to endure. Rachel told him to look behind him. When he turned around, he saw hundreds of Talus charging at him, even the Talus Queen. And of course, our boy ran as fast as he could. At the same time, the other goblins yelled for help. Hyun-seok knew that if he stopped for a moment, he'd be dead. The screaming and begging continued to echo. Eventually, Hyun-seok reached a cave. He wondered if it's safe. Rachel told him that it's empty. She checked it out before. Deep inside, Hyun-seok doesn't trust her, but he thought it should be safer inside than the forest where he's vulnerable from all four directions. He noticed that the cave is pretty deep. He asked Rachel if it's a natural cave, but she doesn't know. She also noticed how high the cave is. She uttered that it's even big enough for the Talus Queen to get in. An idea crossed Hyun-seok's mind. He saw a gooey liquid on the side. Rachel told him that it couldn't be a Talus hideout since the chef told them that there's no group of Talus in the area. But the gooey liquid bothered Hyun-seok. He wondered if those are all spider webs. Then he saw eggs. He realized that it must be a Talus nest. He knew the place won't work after all. Green pair of eyes appeared. It came out as soon as Hyun-seok decided to leave. A fully grown Talus chased him. He ran as fast as he could. Rachel asked if they're heading the right way, but he had no idea since it's also his first time in there. He felt that he stepped on something. Hyun-seok slipped. As panic arose, he placed his hand on anything that he could use as a weapon, and then he threw it at the Talus. The Talus was hit in the chest. It caught the egg. Hyun-seok noticed how it stopped attacking. It might have gotten distracted trying to catch the egg. He asked Rachel why the Talus are acting that way. Rachel speculated that the Talus must have liked what he threw at her since it was round, moist, and smooth. She pointed out that it looked like Talus's egg. Hyun-seok had an idea. He grabbed another egg while telling the Talus that he won't take any more of its crap. The Talus panicked, and that's when Hyun-seok knew his strategy was working. He assumed his stance and threw the egg. The Talus hurriedly tried to catch it. Rachel noticed how its physique is on another level, perhaps because it's a monster. She asked Hyun-seok what's his next choice. Hyun-seok asked her what was there to choose. When there's still over 100 eggs in the area. It went on, and Hyun-seok even had the guts to tease the Talus when the egg cracked. He told the Talus that he could even do a better job receiving than the Talus. Hyun-seok ordered Rachel to bring him an egg, but she told him that it was the last one. Hyun-seok turned pale. He knew he fucked up. The Talus growled loudly. It charged at them. Hyun-seok ordered Rachel to cast a buff quickly. The Talus Queen is furious. Hyun-seok knew that it's already out of energy from trying to catch the eggs. He reminded himself to focus and he would win. The Talus Queen charged at him. Hyun-seok prepared for his killer move. It's called Paradise Reincarnation Shot. Instead of running away, our boy faced the monster head-on and his attack landed. The Talus was defeated. Several system windows appeared to inform him that he leveled up. Rachel asked him if he's okay. Hyun-seok replied that he's not since he felt like he's dying at that moment. He invited her to go somewhere else. Hyun-seok was surprised to find out that Rachel can use healing magic too. He uttered how investing in the mana points was really worth it. Rachel explained that her magic isn't that amazing, since it can mostly just stop blood. He added the point stat and then decided to go back. Currently, Hyun-seok is at level 108 with strength 56 plus 2, agility 53 plus 2, stamina 55 plus 2, mana 53 plus 2, charisma 27. Hyun-seok felt great now that his mana and other stats are balanced now. He didn't know how to use it properly yet, but he thought of it as an investment for the future. Surprisingly, someone in the cave recognized Hyun-seok's voice. It was Kulkan. He was happy to know that Hyun-seok made it out alive. Hyun-seok asked him why he's there. Kulkan shared that he came in after he saw a cave while running away. He uttered how they are both lucky. But Kulkan froze when he found out that it's the Talus nest. He saw the things on the ground. Hyun-seok revealed that it's the Talus's eggs, and that is where it laid them. When he heard that those are Talus's eggs, Kulkan's eyes sparkled. It is a rare, super tasty food that only high-ranking officials could dream of having. Hyun-seok screamed at him to get his act together since they needed to get out of there. Kulkan replied how he expected the Talus queen that was chasing them earlier to already be inside the cave. He added that he needs to be at a division commander's level or above to catch the Talus queen, so having the egg is his last meal. Suddenly, they heard someone from the entrance. The goblins arrived and saw the chef. Kulkan acknowledges the ones who barely made it. He told them that they are lucky to get a taste of the egg. Hyun-suk contemplated if it's really his last meal. He refused to let that happen, especially not when he hasn't eaten the 5 side dish meal from his wife yet. Hyun-suk refused to die in vain in a place like that. He was determined to get out this time as well. At Hemis's office, someone greeted the commander. She commented how he's stiff and formal as always. She inquired if he had finished the mission he's assigned in. Reedrun reported that he successfully captured the next saintess of the Holy Empire as instructed. She was proud of Reedrun. He broke through that fanatical cult in just 3 weeks. She pats his head, which made Reedrun blushed. All of a sudden, someone knocked on the door. She told them that they're interrupting a great moment. The goblin told her that there's an urgent report about the cooks who went out to gather ingredients since an incident occurred. Hemis simply replied that it happens every day. She asked why there was a fuss. The goblin reported how the scale is large. It explained that the Talus queen suddenly appeared, and now most of the cooks, including the head chef Kulkan, are either dead or missing. Hemis asked about Hyun-suk. The goblin reported that he's missing. Reedrun heard that, and the idea didn't sit well with him. Meanwhile, inside the cave, the goblins had a toast using the eggs. They are already celebrating their deaths. Kulkan also bids goodbye to them. Hyun-suk smacked him in the head and told him to get a hold of himself. Kulkan's expression says, "What the hell?" Hyun-suk replied that he seemed to have fallen under a wicked spell, so he woke him using a secret weapon. Hyun-suk had a new item. It's called Beast Encyclopedia Demonic Beast Edition. It is an encyclopedia of demonic beasts which contains useful information on nearly all demonic beasts. 50 hero points is required. He searched for Talus, a spider-type demonic beast that lives in groups with particularly sturdy legs. To defeat Talus, they should target weaker areas like the torso and head. Talus's bodily fluids are highly flammable, with its eggs containing a liquid as combustible as a bomb. The caves created with Talus's saliva are also weak against fire, so he has to be careful not to use flame magic inside them. Hyun-suk inquired if Kulkan could use fire magic. Kulkan replied that he can, but only with basic stuff like shooting flames. Kulkan sighed and told Hyun-suk to give up. He informed him that Talus's carapace isn't something his magic can easily burn through. Hyun-suk replied that it doesn't matter since he's not planning to burn the Talus. Hyun-suk gathered everyone and told them that he had a plan. He told them that they needed to survive so they could eat more stuff like eggs. But the goblins thought it was just a useless effort. Hyun-suk tempted them by saying that he will provide them with unlimited servings of luxurious gourmet, demonic beast meat as a survival celebration. The goblins were now motivated. Kulkan agreed that if they want to enjoy a buffet, they need to survive first. With sparkling eyes and drooling mouth, Kulkan asked what their plan was. Hyun-suk was happy that he had done it. He told them to remember the plan, and they must not stop under any circumstances. He told them to keep running until they made it outside. Then they move out. They encountered a swarm of Talus. Hyun-suk told Kulkan to get ready with his fire. Kulkan threw the fire at his signal. A portion of the cave exploded. Rachel noticed how everyone swarmed towards the walls. She asked him what he did. Hyun-suk replied that if the fire spreads in the cave and it collapses, the remaining eggs are done for too. So he made sure to leave a few eggs deeper inside on purpose. They escape while the Talus are distracted. He told the goblins not to look back and keep moving forward. He instructed them to throw an egg to divert their attention. All their focus should go to surviving. Now, there's only one egg left in Hyun-suk's hands. They must find the exit before using that. Rachel saw a light. Hyun-suk guided everyone towards the exit. Just a little bit more, and they would arrive. They kept running as fast as they could. They reached the light and thought they were saved, but the relieved expression on Hyun-suk's face turned into misery. A Queen Talus appeared. Kulkan saw it too. It was blocking their way. Hyun-suk gripped the egg. The Talus queen saw it and became furious. Kulka uttered that the queen had returned. He thought that it's the end this time. But Hyun-suk refused to believe that. He noticed how the queen wasn't attacking them after seeing them. He knew there's a reason for that. He called her attention. He instructed Kulkan to light up something for him. Hyun-suk told the queen that it's the last egg. He threatened her that if it explodes, everyone's dead and the queen and offspring will die too. She showed him the egg and the cloth burning while telling the Queen Talus to move aside while he's asking nicely. The The Queen Talus contemplated about it. Hyunsuk pressured her to get out of there. The Queen Talus moved her leg. It made a loud screeching noise. Rachel asked what they should do. Hyunsuk lit up the egg. He had no idea what to do. He just threw the burning egg. It crashed on the wall, and fire started spreading. They felt the ground shake. The goblins panicked. The cave is collapsing. Hyunsuk ordered everyone to escape. Their priority is to get outside. But as he was desperately running for his life, Hyunsuk froze. System window showed that he leveled up. Rachel asked why he's just standing there. If he doesn't get out now, he will be buried as everything collapses. He saw the Queen Talus being crushed by falling debris. Hyunsuk was notified of his leveling up again. Several more system windows appeared, indicating that he leveled up. Like tons of it still followed. I think this is what you call speed EXP farming. Hyunsuk could only say, huh? While having a dumbfounded expression.
Thank you all for watching. Please watch this next Giga Chad video, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, support the channel by joining the Summon Club membership. You can also support by just liking the video and being awesome.